The honeycomb? Oh no! Ah, you cheeky sods. Ah, you mother chuckers. Hi folks, and welcome back to The Plot. It's Sunday morning, and it's so nice at this time of day when everyone is still kind of waking up. You can come down to the allotment, there's no one else here, and it feels like you've got the place to yourself. It's been a bit of a slow week for me, to be honest. You might have noticed not so many videos, not so much activity in the garden, and to be honest, it's just been a bit hasn't it? This week, the cold weather, the rain, the constant kind of drizzle, it's just been a bit, Do you know what I mean? Have you been feeling the same? I've seen quite a few comments where people are just like, it's too rainy. You know, there's a lot of people who are kind of fair weather gardeners, and I don't think there's any shame in that. If you don't love gardening in the rain, that's fine. I think that's fine. But I always like to be quite honest about these things. You know, I think it's completely normal for your enthusiasm to kind of wax and wane throughout the years. You have these peaks, these troughs, and for me this week, I have still been coming up, been taking care of everything, but I've not been spending half as much time here as I have been recently. That said, there is still absolutely loads and loads to show you on today's full plot tour, which I've been trying to make for absolutely ages. I think this is the third attempt, and lo and behold, it is once again raining, but we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it, and we're going to start in this greenhouse with all the seedlings. And I suppose the first thing to show you is the greenhouse in a greenhouse. We've now got just the peppers and a couple of aubergines in here, and they're really not doing much. They're still surviving. I showed these off in my last video where I was talking about, you know, is it safe to bring the peppers out? Is it safe to put your tender plants out? Do go and have a watch of that one if you've not seen it. But these are a good example of what happens if you bring them out too early. Just completely stalled, not really doing anything. They're surviving. We've not had any frosts, but they're not growing much at all. So always a useful experiment for me to kind of do that, and just I do it to prove to myself, you know, that there's no rush and you got to bring the peppers out when it's the right time. We've got a little tray here that I sowed recently. This is calendula, and this is from self-collected seed, looking absolutely amazing. I like to grow these in clumps and then just stick them in the ground like that, and you get quite a nice showing. I think single calendula plants they can look a bit sparse and a bit kind of a bit scraggly, so I like to grow them all together, and that one's a little bit light actually. We've also got some more sweet basil in here. I've got some cucumbers that have just come up, and really now it's time for me to start sowing most of my summer plants, my squashes, my courgettes, all that kind of stuff in here. This is something, it's something unlabelled for some reason. I think this might be a flower of some kind. Any idea? Not too sure. I'm a very professional gardener, as you can see. We've got some spring onions, they've come up quite nice. I've had really bad luck with my spring onions so far. These are the only ones that have germinated. I think third time lucky. We've got some new lettuce that I'm trying back here. This is Webb's Wonderful. Really slow to germinate, really slow to get going, but it's just starting now. And next door, I'm really excited about this. We've got some cumin. First time I've ever actually managed to germinate it. Looks quite small, so I'll be pricking that out at some point. And we've got a little rogue calendula plant in there as well. The peas in the gutter, oh God. Well, they're looking healthy now, but they've been a bit touch and go, to be honest, because I massively underwatered them. And I think this is a classic tale that most gardeners are familiar with. Last year, I completely overwatered them. I completely drowned them. All of the peas rotted. My gutter peas were disastrous. I think I re-sowed them and did give the gutter a go, and it kind of works, you know. You think, oh, it's going to nice and easily slide out. Not really, not in my experience. But this year, I went completely too far the other way and wasn't giving them enough water, and they were growing really slowly, and then they started to look quite wilty. I don't think peas show you that they're thirsty in the same way that a lot of other plants do, so it took me a little while to realise, but I have corrected the problem now, and they're looking much better. I just love doing these tours so much because they really help me to kind of get everything in order in my mind. And over here, this is the tray of tender plants. This was in the greenhouse in a greenhouse, but it just got too big. They just got too big and sprawling. And this is cucumbers, a tomato, and an accidental melon. I didn't actually mean to bring this melon up, and it's been quite remarkable that it's survived as well as it has, to be honest. There are actually two melons. I don't know if I knew that until just now. I can't believe that's a melon, and this is a melon as well. I really thought there was only one melon. Like I say, very professional. I have a really good idea of what I'm doing. Oh dear me. The other thing is, look, we've got actually the first cucumbers are coming up on these plants now. We've got one down there on the Merlin, and one up here too. I think this Honey Plus cucumber looks quite gross. They are meant to look like that. It looks really anemic and kind of horrible, doesn't it? But not a good sign, okay? That's not something to be celebrated. That's just because they need potting on. And I have put them into mediums, not medium, they're still very small pots, but I have potted them on since they came up here. But they need to be going into something kind of 2 litres or above. The eventual plan is to either have these in the ground in the greenhouse or in the ground outside. Let's have a little look at greenhouse number 2, where I think everything is looking really healthy and happy. There are a few pest issues and it's easy to focus on them and focus on the negative, but like I say, I love making these videos because it gives me a fresh eye and makes me see everything new. We've got a tray of cosmos here that's looking okay. It did go really leggy, but it's looking a bit nicer now. So I'm gonna find a few spots to plant these out when it's a little bit nicer next week probably. These backup peas at the back are actually flowering. I should really get these in. I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about those. They were just an old seed packet. Let's chuck them in and see what happens. We're just starting to get some of the lettuce coming up here. Recently sowed a mixed module tray of leeks and lettuce in there. A lot of the brassicas that have been potted on are really starting to beef up, looking a lot healthier. And I completely forgot to mention this, but I was meant to start the video by saying just yesterday I went back and watched my April tour from this time last year, and it is amazing the difference this year. I'm so much farther ahead. I've got such a better idea of what I'm doing. My compost is better. Last year I was only just now discovering the issue with my brassica seedlings and the rubbish compost I was using. I had all this lettuce that just hadn't grown at all my brassicas were just, they're just tiny little cotyledons, and looking around today it's just like, it's going so much better. And I've still got that kind of feeling. I always struggle with this around April, where loads of your beds outside are going to be bare. You know, maybe they're looking in really good condition and they're ready to get stuff into, but I do get that slight unease. It's like the weather's warming up, it feels quite nice, it feels lovely, and you look outside and there's not much growing in the beds. But that's normal. It's normal for this time of year. A lot of my stuff doesn't really start going into the ground until middle or late May. So if you've got the same little voice in the back of your head, take a deep breath. Don't worry. Behind the brassicas as well, here are, there's just a little green shoot coming up there. Always, it's still exciting, isn't it, when you just see stuff starting to germinate. We've got some more Honey Plus cucumbers there that hopefully are gonna be a little bit more successful than the ones that I've let get too big in those pots that I was just showing you. We've also got a spaghetti squash. That's not come up just yet, but next door, look at these. These are some sweet peas, and these are a lovely dark kind of purple variety almost. There's a rogue beetroot in here too. That's the healthiest looking beetroot I've grown this year. Just accidentally snuck into this large pot. But I'm really excited to get these planted somewhere. I'm thinking they might go kind of at the back of the compost or something like that, just to, I don't know, make it look a little bit prettier. We'll find somewhere for those. Down here, tray of beans I sowed very recently. What are these ones? The Kalima beans, just starting to come up. I'm not sure that these kind of 4x6 modules are quite enough for French beans, but we're a bit later on now, so hopefully when these are getting to maturity in the cells, they can just go straight outdoors. Next door, the spinach. I've had a bit of a not great showing on the spinach this year, but some of those probably ready to go out now. We've got some more lettuce coming through as well. This I think is Saladin, kind of an iceberg lettuce. That's germinated really nicely recently. Some more sweet basil and just a few little marigolds as well. I've been doing kind of successional sowings of those. Oh, and we've got the first of the holy basil, the Ossimum Sanctum. Brilliant. I'm really happy. That has taken a long time to germinate though. The strawberries are looking, I think, okay. At first I was a bit panicked this morning when I showed up and looked at these ones at the front, but these are the Brads. And they do look a bit weird. They do just kind of look a little bit gnarled, a little bit funky, but the more traditional, the more standard varieties behind them, they're looking a lot healthier, especially these kind of, this Roma tomato and the orange accordion, looking really, really quite healthy, actually. The black chocolate here, looking a little bit gnarly. And then we've got this one black strawberry at the back here that has just romped away, looking really, really healthy. The honeycomb, oh no, just pulled the tray out and look at this. The bloody buggers. My honeycomb have been slugged. There's one remaining, one there, look. You cheeky sods. You mother chuckers. Now, I'm normally very casual about slug damage, but for the tomatoes, I've only got 2 cells of each of the varieties that I want to grow. So they're quite precious. For one of those to have been slugged completely, the other one just has a little bit of green shoots. So I'm going to put these up really high where hopefully the slugs won't travel to get them. That's kind of the best defense at the moment. God, I can't believe that. Cheeky beggars. But down here, we've got another really, really healthy looking tray of greens. Oh, look at this. This looks really good, actually. I'm getting the good feeling. We've got some lettuce. That is definitely ready to go out. I had some lettuce that was getting a bit straggly, but that's all gone into these pots and they're looking really good now. And the more brassicas behind as well, looking really good. These are mostly cabbages, pretty much all cabbages. But oh, that looks really good, doesn't it? That looks really good. Just over here, some more cabbages. I might be growing too many cabbages. This is what happens when you give a man 2 greenhouses and space to fill. So these are kind of successional sowings. These are the ones I planted on very recently outside. And then this tray has finally taken off. I showed this very recently and said, what is going on here? Because these were planted quite a long time ago and just weren't growing. I'm not sure why, but now they have taken off. We've got some celeriac looking good in here too. The giant Prague, we've got Brussels sprouts on the right, some green sprouting broccoli. Oh, this is good. This is really good. And then we've got this purple kale, looks really cool, doesn't it? I love that. And behind, we have more slug damage on the French beans, especially. These are Cobra. Really crap germination, to be honest, as well. Only about half of these germinated. So that's not been great. And the ones that have been left have been slugged quite heavily. So not great. And I think I did learn a lesson there really about how to sow French beans. Go for quantity. I've got 2 in each of these cells and I've done these at a much more sensible time. Up here we've got this gourmet salad mix and I just never really get much luck doing salad in trays or, you know, just getting a packet mix and sowing it already mixed. They're not growing much at all, not much root growth. They're plenty damp, you know, they've been well watered. I've had a bit of seaweed feed too, but they're just a bit rubbish, aren't they? They're not doing much. Maybe I sowed them too thick and they're competing too much. That might be it, actually. We don't talk about this. Don't look. Don't look at that. Next, the beetroot. So I've planted some of these out and resown, and I've not had much luck. We'll have a look at those outside in a bit. And oh God, oh gross. So we've got yet more cabbages, and these are absolutely chock full of aphids. This is the first one, really, that I've seen that full of aphids. Lots of cabbages at the back, and this, I think, is cornflower. I can't remember sowing this, but it's come up. And this is a magnet for aphids. This is probably what has actually drawn them into the greenhouse. I know that because Jess grew some in the conservatory. I've never seen so many aphids in one place. So I'm going to chuck that outside right now. Well, in a second. The only other, no, that's not true. There's a few more things to show you. We've got some more broad beans down here. Just did one extra tray, just in case, and loads of calendula. That's looking pretty good. It's beefing up. It's ready to go out, really. And we've got a few strawberries in pots. They're doing nice. Oh, blimey. I didn't spot this. Got the first strawberry. That's nice. It's quite nice growing them in cover because they don't immediately get eaten by birds or anything like that. And the potato pots. Look at this. Look at this. New growth on all of these potato pots. And it's just so easy to see. These are the ones with the horse manure mulch on top. Not a weed in sight. And these are the ones with soil. Absolutely grim in comparison. So this is really exciting to start to see the first potato growth. And here, I just had a few special lot sets, and I think that might be too many for that pot, but I wasn't sure how they were going to do outside, so I've just put them in here for now. And you can see, and maybe here, the drip of the window I really do need to sort out, because this is just pretty much a watertight greenhouse, apart from this little bit here. It does mean the potatoes will be well watered, I guess. There's another one I forgot. I potted on some marigolds, and I've hid them up here because, as we all know, marigolds are a magnet for slugs, and these well and truly did get slugged or snailed very quickly. So I've put them on this top shelf where, I mean, they're not immune, but you know, you need a bit of a commando slug, a bit of a Rambo slug to go all the way up here. Maybe they will do that for these marigolds. I guess they can kind of smell them or sense them. There must be something that attracts them, but I'm going to put the tomatoes up here as well now. Now it is pretty miserable outside. I wonder if could I do a plot tour just from the inside of the greenhouse? Maybe not. We're going to wait for it to ease off a little bit. And then, oh, it's looking quite nice, I think. I'm quite happy with it at the moment. Certainly a big improvement on the past few years, and I really do put that mostly down to just actually starting to use a bit of manure as a mulch to keep the weeds down. But we'll wait for the weather to ease off a little bit and go and have a proper tour. While it's been raining outside, I have put the time to good use, and I've just potted up the cucumbers and tomatoes that I was showing you earlier, which were, well, they really are quite desperate. I think the reason that those cucumbers are setting fruit is more to do with stress. One of them is setting fruit, the Merlin that I showed you, the actual green cucumber. I don't think that is stress due to pot size. I think that is probably temperature or weather or the kind of other conditions. Its roots aren't showing through the bottom of the pot or anything like that, but the Honey Plus, I think they do want to get away. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time, really, and the weather is just not letting up. So, unfortunately, we're not going to do a full plot tour today. My third attempt has come to an end, but there are just a couple of things that I do want to show you outside, and some of the harvests that I'm actually taking in April. Oh, as well, Honey Plus cucumber, slightly immature, but not particularly impressive taste. It's nice, but it really does just taste like cucumber. Really hope I'm on camera. And that first thing is purple sprouting broccoli. I've got a few plants that were just tiny, and I never thought they were gonna do anything, but I just left them in just in case, which is something I do quite a lot. You know, I like to give plants the chance, and sometimes they surprise you, and these purple sprouting broccoli plants are one that has surprised me. They've just looked really rubbish all year, and they've come back now, the end of April. It's not exactly an amazing harvest, but they are doing their thing. They are setting out lovely purple sprouting broccoli shoots, and it's a win. It's a lovely little harvest. I nearly pulled these out, you know, just the other week when I was getting this brassica bed all ready. The cabbages in here are looking really nice as well. Surprisingly, they haven't been slugged or snailed. And weirdly, I found loads of snails on the outside of the netting. So not only are they keeping the butterflies and the birds out, they're also keeping out some of the slugs. In case you're wondering why I don't film in the rain, it's not because I'm squeamish. I do quite a lot of work in the rain, but my camera, unfortunately, does not combine very well with rain. So the other thing I wanted to show you is in here, and this is where my rhubarb is. And look at that. Don't look at the weeds at the bottom, but look at this rhubarb. I forced it a little bit, but you can see it is getting some light, and I took a really nice harvest from here just the other day, but I'm just picking a few more to make a crumble tonight. Oh, look at how sweet and red it looks. Oh, it's really, really exciting. And then last, but by no means least, I was going to talk about the leeks, but I've just noticed this one is going to seed, or going to flower anyway. It looks like it's the only one, but that is a really good sign that this is definitely time to be starting to get these leeks out. These are winter leeks, and they went in so late and they took so long to get going, and I really thought they were going to be completely useless, but they've now fattened up really nicely. And I always try and see if I can just pull them out, and I rarely can, but these ones are just pulling straight out, which is really good. So I'm going to harvest a few of these, and My favourite thing to do with leeks is a bit of puff pastry, a bit of cream cheese, and you make a nice leek tart. Loads and loads of pepper too. Oh, so, so good. So this is going to be on the menu for the next few days. Oh, exciting. I've not had many harvests recently, so this is the first proper few harvests that I'm having, and it's really cheering me up. Here we have today's gorgeous little harvest, and to be honest, I can't take too much credit for the rhubarb, but it's just wonderful. It is so, there's just such a simple joy, isn't there, to harvesting food that you've grown yourself. Those little leeks started off as seedlings, these purple spring broccoli shoots from something started February last year. It's just poetic, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. It's so, so nice, and it's really what it's all about. I'm actually really excited to get home and get in the kitchen. Unfortunately, we have run out of time for a full allotment tour, but I promise you that should be my next video. Massive thank you for watching, and an extra special thank you to my Chili Pepper tier patrons, Tony, Michael, Pam, Louise, and Bill. I should really decide an order to say those, but I think it's okay for now. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.